China just built a train station the size of an entire city. And when you step inside Chongqing East Railway Station, you realize that's not an exaggeration. This single building covers over 12 million square feet. That's bigger than Monaco. It handles more people every single day than most airports handle in a week. And the engineering required to make it work? It rewrites every rule you thought you knew about what's possible in construction. But to understand why anyone would build something this massive, you need to understand the problem it was built to solve. You're standing in front of Chongqing East Railway Station, and your brain can't process what you're looking at. The building stretches out in front of you for over half a mile. That's not a train station. That's a horizontal skyscraper. The total floor area, 12.9 million square feet. To put that in perspective, that's roughly 220 football fields under one roof. The Pentagon, the largest office building in the world, would fit inside this train station twice, with room to spare. But it's not just wide, it's deep. This station has 17 platform tracks on the surface level, but beneath your feet, there are 4 more underground levels. Above you, there's an elevated departure hall. You're looking at a vertical city designed to move human beings at a scale that sounds completely insane. 350,000 passengers pass through this station every single day. That's the entire population of Cincinnati, Ohio, moving through one building in 24 hours. During Chinese New Year, that number explodes to over 500,000 people per day. The construction took 5 years and cost over $17 billion. And here's the part that makes no sense. They built it while other railway lines were still operating around it. They couldn't shut down transportation to one of China's most critical cities, so they had to engineer this monster while trains were still running, people were still traveling, and the city kept functioning. But here's what really doesn't make sense. Why does any city need something this enormous? Chongqing isn't a city. It's a country disguised as a city. 32 million people live in Chongqing. That's more than Australia, more than Texas, than all of Scandinavia combined. And they're all crammed into one of the most geographically hostile places you could possibly build a megacity. You're looking at a place built into mountains. Buildings cling to cliff sides. Roads spiral upward. In layers, the Yangtze River cuts right through the middle of it. This isn't like Beijing or Shanghai, where you can just sprawl outward across flat land. In Chongqing, every inch of space is fought for, carved out of impossible terrain. And it's not just a city of 32 million people sitting still. It's 32 million people on the move. Chongqing is the economic engine of southwestern China. It's a manufacturing powerhouse, logistics hub, the starting point of the Belt and Road Initiative's overland routes into Europe. Millions of migrant workers flow through this city every year. Students, business travelers, families visiting relatives across the country, everyone moving, everyone connecting, everyone needing to get somewhere fast. China's high-speed rail network converges on Chongqing like veins feeding into a heart, lines. From Beijing, from Shanghai, from Guangzhou, from Chengdu, from Kunming, all of them terminate here or pass through here. Chongqing isn't just a destination. It's the crossroads of 500 million people's journeys. The old stations couldn't handle it. They were drowning. Platforms packed beyond capacity. Ticket halls turned into human traffic jams. The infrastructure was choking on its own success. You can't solve a problem this massive with a normal solution. You can't just build a bigger station. You have to rethink what a station even is. And that's exactly what China did. Building a train station the size of a city is hard enough. Building it in Chongqing, that's a different level of insanity. You're dealing with terrain that doesn't want to cooperate. Mountains, rivers, unstable ground. And you need to construct something that weighs millions of tons, spans 1/2 mile, and goes 4 levels deep into Earth that's already supporting a megacity above it. The foundation alone required over 15,000 concrete piles driven deep into bedrock. Some of those piles go down more than 160 feet. You're essentially anchoring a small city into a mountain range while making sure nothing shifts Nothing settles and nothing collapses. But here's where it gets truly impossible. They couldn't stop the trains. Chongqing's existing railway lines had to keep running during construction. Millions of people still needed to move through the city every single day. So engineers had to build around active rail lines, coordinate construction with train schedules, and make sure that jackhammers, cranes, and explosives didn't disrupt operations happening just yards away. They used a technique called segmented construction. Massive prefabricated sections were built off-site, then transported and assembled like the world's heaviest Lego set: steel. Framework weighing thousands of tons. Concrete slabs the size of basketball courts. Glass. Panels that covered entire walls. Everything precision engineered to slot into place while the city kept moving beneath them. Then came the vertical challenge. 4 underground levels, ground level platforms, elevated departure halls. Each level had to buffer, connect seamlessly. Escalators, elevators, corridors wide enough to move tsunami-sized crowds. And every single pathway had to be engineered so that 350,000 people could flow through this building daily without turning into a human gridlock. The passenger flow engineering alone sounds like science fiction. They used computer simulations to model crowd movement patterns, AI systems to predict bottlenecks, algorithms that calculated exactly how wide corridors needed to be, how many staircases were required, where to place ticket gates to prevent crushing. But this was just the beginning of the real challenge. Because once you build something this massive, you have to make it work. And making it work meant integrating technology that most train stations can't even imagine. You walk through the entrance of Chongqing East Railway Station, and you realize immediately, this isn't a building. It's an ecosystem. The main hall stretches out in front of you like an airport terminal on steroids. Ceilings soar 100 feet above your head. Natural light pours in through massive glass panels. And everywhere you dot, look, there are people, thousands of them, tens of thousands, all moving with purpose, all flowing through this space like a choreographed dance. You can't see the pattern of, but somehow it works. You don't need a paper ticket anymore. Facial recognition cameras scan your face as you walk toward the gates. The system matches you to your ticket in milliseconds. The barrier opens. You're through. No fumbling with your phone. No digging through bags. The technology is so seamless, you barely notice it's happening. And as you move deeper into the station, you realize this place offers everything a small city would offer. Restaurants line entire corridors, not just fast food. Sit-down restaurants, noodle bars, hot pot places, coffee shops, bakeries. You could spend hours here just eating. Shopping malls occupy entire sections of the lower levels, connected directly to the station for travelers with layovers, business centers with meeting, rooms and offices for people who need to work between connections. This isn't just a place you pass through, it's a place you can exist in. But the real genius reveals itself when you see how it handles chaos. Chinese New Year is the ultimate stress test. Over 500,000 people surged through Chongqing East in a single day. That's 500,000 human beings with luggage, with families, with anxiety about missing trains. All compressed into one building at the same time. And the station doesn't break. AI crowd management systems track density in real time. When one corridor gets too packed, digital signs redirect people to alternate routes. Staff get alerts on their devices telling them exactly where bottlenecks are forming. Additional gates open automatically. More elevators activate. The building adapts to the pressure like a living organism responding to stress. The trains themselves run on precision that seems impossible. High-speed rail departing every stand. Few minutes. Connections to subway lines. Bus terminals integrated into the lower levels. You can arrive in Chongqing from Beijing at 200 miles per hour, transfer to the metro, and be in the city center without ever stepping outside. This is what happens when you stop thinking about a train station as just a place to catch trains. This is infrastructure as urban integration. Transportation as a living, breathing system. But the most insane part? Chongqing East is already operating at full capacity. Every platform is used. Every corridor is necessary. Every square foot of those 12.9 million square feet is justified by the sheer volume of human movement it handles daily. China didn't overbuild this. They built exactly what a city of 32 million people actually needs. And what they proved is that the infrastructure most countries call excessive is just what scale looks like when you're operating at the level of hundreds of millions of people on the move. This isn't just the largest train station in the world. It's a glimpse at what happens when a country decides that infrastructure isn't an expense. It's the foundation of everything else.